Let's get ready for a yin yoga practice for the whole body. This practice will be good for all levels and you will not need any props. My name is Devi and welcome to Devi Daly Yoga, where it's not about how your yoga looks, it's about how it feels. Let's go ahead and begin on the belly in Sphinx pose. Rest on your elbows. Palms can be down or hands could be clasped. And then kind of root down into your elbows to lift up through your spine and feel the stretch in the back. Feel the belly lengthening and stretching, the lumbar spine, the sacrum. And see if you can breathe into this sensation and find a little bit of softening here. Softening into the earth through the front of your pelvis, the front of your thighs, the lower belly. Breathing steady and smooth. And for the second half of our time in the pose, you could choose to stay here. If you want more sensation, come into seal pose. Your hands will come to the width of your mat and you can lift up higher. You can play around with the exact placement of the hands, maybe wider or narrower or closer toward your body. If this is too much, just come back down onto the elbows, staying in Sphinx. Breathe. And slowly coming down, releasing all the way onto your belly. Stack your hands, rest your forehead on your hands. And just relax here. Taking a deep breath into the lower back. And as you exhale, soften, relax. Notice what you're feeling in your lower back and your sacrum as you rest. Now lifting the head and place the hands on either side of you to press up and back to child's pose. Knees can be hips width or wider. Arms stretch out in front, hips come back toward the heels. Breathing and softening into the back of the body. And now coming up to hands and knees, Let's take it into dragon pose with the left leg forward, both hands on the inside of the foot, or any other variation of dragon pose that you like. Stretching into the front of your right thigh and the front of your right hip. So this is the back leg we're targeting, and we can sink the hips down more to get more of that stretch if it feels good. Breathing into the pelvis, into the hips. Exhaling, softening a little bit more. And now for our second half of our time in this pose, the option to move it into dragon holds its tail pose. For this variation, we take the right hand farther out to the right, so outside of the edge of your mat, bend the back leg up, and take the left hand back to hold the foot, left hand to right foot. And from here, roll the left shoulder back, turn the chest toward the sky. Turn the gaze up and think about finding a back bend here, your right hip coming forward as your head comes back in space. If this is not working for you, just stay in dragon with both hands on the ground as we started. And slowly releasing and stepping back, taking downward dog. And walking the legs in downward dog, feeling the difference between the right side and the left side after that first side of the pose. And now let's go ahead and drop the knees, taking the right leg forward. Both hands on the inside of the foot, or your choice of any version of dragon that stretches the front of the left hip and the front of the left thigh. And breathing right into the left hip, left thigh, and exhaling, softening here. And now the optional halfway through shift into dragon holds its tail. Left hand comes to the outer edge of the left side of the mat. Right arm comes up as you reach back for your foot. Rolling the right shoulder back, rolling the chest toward the sky, bringing the head back in space as you soften the left hip toward the front of the body. Finding the back bend and really feeling the stretch, whichever variation you're in. Maybe you're staying in dragon with both hands on the floor. The whole front of the left thigh, left hip, and even up into the lower left belly. Breathing into what you feel. Releasing both hands back to the floor. Step back to downward dog. And now we're going to just drop it down into child's pose. Resting, softening here. Taking some time for a rebound, just letting the body be relaxed as you feel the sensations that are happening. And slowly coming up, and sit with your legs in front, left leg extended, and the right leg is going to come into frog, half frog variation. So the foot comes next to the hip, and now this knee, you could have it way back here, or maybe a 45-degree angle, or maybe close in. This is one of the variables you can play with here. And we'll come forward over the leg. And now we want to feel quite a good hamstring stretch here in the left leg. If you feel mostly sensations in the right leg, the right groin, then this might not be the right variation for you today, and you could just come into regular half butterfly if you'd like. Otherwise, some version of half frog, taking you forward. Hands could be on the shin, the foot, the floor. And you could also veer toward the inside of the leg. Finding the hamstring stretch that feels good and juicy. It's kind of a word that I feel like it applies to the hamstrings when we really get into the good stuff. It's a juicy stretch. Wherever you landed, take a deep breath into this shape and exhale, soften. And now we'll take another variation of the hamstring stretch for our second half of the time in the pose. So this is half shoelace. Right knee comes on top of the left knee. And coming forward from here. Again, if this doesn't work for you, maybe that half butterfly variation is going to be the one you want to be in instead, or the half frog. You could stay there. So different ways to stretch the hamstrings. You might feel quite a different sensation here. And most people don't come down as far in this variation. But even if you're not coming as far, you might be feeling quite a bit of sensation. Noticing what's happening, noticing what you feel, breathing into it. And relax your shoulders, your spine, your lower back, your legs. And now slowly releasing, coming into a seated position with both legs in front, hands behind you. Lift up your chest. And exhaling, come back up to center. Let's take it into the half frog on the other side. I'm going to turn just so it's easier to see that I'm doing this. Left foot. Knee can be closer to the knee, out at an angle, or even way far back as you feel the stretch out coming forward over your leg. or to the inside of your leg. And what this variation does is that it tilts the pelvis more anteriorly forward so that you really kind of maximize the stretch in the hamstrings. And wherever it is, whatever angle you have ended up finding your body in, take a deep breath into this whole pelvic bowl and the right thigh. And exhale, soften, relax, release into the pose. And slowly releasing. For our second half of our time in the hamstring stretch, half shoelace, left knee on top of the right, or again, finding your variation. And my leg is super tight on this side, so this is as far as I'm going. Ooh. Breathing into what's happening. Breathing into your hamstrings, your lower back. And slowly coming up, coming all the way down onto your back. Resting and feeling the effects of all that hamstring stretching. Take a deep breath and let it go. And bend the knees, hug them into your chest. Arms wrap around the legs, gently rock side to side. And come over onto one side and up to a sitting position. for your choice of square or shoelace pose. Square pose, we take the left ankle on top of the right, and the shins are stacked on top of each other. And this might be plenty of sensation for you to stay upright. Or some people like to come forward, and that's where the stretch comes in. Totally up to you. You can sit up on a cushion if you'd like. And then the second variation you could choose is to tighten it up, left knee on top of the right in shoelace, and come forward. And if you're in the shoelace, don't worry about the feet being symmetrical. Maybe one foot is closer to your side and one is forward, or vice versa. What's important is the stretch in the left glutes, the top leg glutes. And whichever pose you end up in, let yourself soften and relax here. If neither of these variations works for your body, crossing at the shins or ankles like so might work quite a bit better. And you can pile up props under your forehead if you want to use blocks or cushions. And finding your pose. Once you're there, taking a breath in, letting it go. And slowly coming up, lean back on the hands to change sides. Right ankle on the left knee if you're taking the square pose, staying up or coming forward. Both feet can be on the ground if you're crossing at the ankles, coming forward, or tightening it up for the shoelace, right knee on top of the left. Finding your pose, and then finding your breath, taking a deep inhale, exhale, and slowly releasing shoelace. Unwinding the legs, make your way down onto your back. 1 minute of rest. Any comfortable position on your back. Let yourself spread out wide if that feels good. Inhaling, big breath in. Big breath out. And bending the knees, hugging them into your chest. Lift your forehead up toward your knees, squeeze up into a little ball, and release your head back down. Roll over to one side, come up to sit, and next we've got your choice of half saddle or full saddle. So half saddle, we take this right foot next to the hip and come back, maybe onto the elbows, maybe all the way onto the back, maybe resting back on a couple of pillows or a bolster or blocks, whatever you have. So this is choice one. Stretching into the front of the right thigh and the front of the right hip. And your hands could be on your belly or out at your sides. You could bend your left knee if that feels better. You could let the left knee open out to the left side if you like. Play around with these angles and find the pose that feels good for your body. And slowly come on up and undoing the right leg and doing the left leg. And I will turn around just for visibility, getting the foot next to the hip. Any props you need behind you again, and making your way back. Right leg can be extended, bent, or opened out to the side. and slowly releasing, carefully lifting yourself up, undoing the leg and coming onto your back for 1 minute of rest. Feeling the sensations after that back bend and hip flexor stretch. Taking a deep breath in and a long breath out. Bend your knees, draw them in toward your chest. Gently rock side to side. And now roll all the way over onto one side. Coming up to sit, caterpillar pose. Both legs in front. Softening over the legs. Feel free to use a cushion under your seat or to pile props between your legs to support your head or on the top of your legs. Anything that you need to soften and relax into this forward bend, to stretch into the back of your hamstrings, the lower back, lengthening the spine. Might feel really good after saddle or half saddle to bend the spine in this direction. Breathing into the spine. Slowly releasing, coming all the way up and all the way down onto your back. Resting for 1 minute on the back, arms out to the sides, legs spread open so that you feel really spacious here. Breathing in, exhaling, letting it go. And bending your knees, moving now into a spinal twist. Both knees coming in and over to the right side, left arm out to the left, right hand anchoring the legs down. Your head can be centered or turned out toward the left, whatever feels good. And breathing here into this stretch of the side bodies, the ribs, the opening in the left side of the chest, outer left hip, and especially this kind of inner sensation of what's happening in your spine, twisting the vertebrae, twisting the discs in this gentle, therapeutic way, stimulating the bones of the spine itself. The spine carries so much of our energetic body. Breathing deep into your spine now. Exhaling. For our second half of our time in the pose, option to cross the knees, left knee over the right, coming into this twisted roots variation. If that doesn't feel good to you, then just go back to the first variation. Slowly releasing, legs back up to the center, pausing at the center, hips and shoulders at the center, hands come to the belly, knees rest in against one another. Deep breath in, feel the spine at the center, breathing out. Let's take this twist to the second side now. Knees in and over to the left, right arm out to the right. Deep breath into the ribs, the lower back, the waist. Exhale. Feeling this movement of the spinal discs the opposite way now. Maybe feeling into the bones of the spine itself. And now for the second half of our time in the pose, option to cross the right knee over the left, twisted roots, or stay in the first variation. Breathing deep, inhaling. Exhaling. And now slowly bring the legs back up to the center, extending legs and arms at a comfortable angle. Make yourself totally comfortable. Take a deep breath in. Let it go. Let your body connect firmly with the earth. Inhaling, your body rising through the belly, the heart with this breath. And as you exhale, just surrendering into the pull of gravity, which is holding your body against the earth. Surrendering. And now taking a deeper breath into your belly, into your heart. And as you exhale, gently wiggle through the fingers and the toes and stretch out the arms and the legs. Stretch the arms over the head and bend the knees, roll over to one side and slowly, gently make your way up to sit. You can find a cushion to put under your seat if you'd like. Sitting quietly with yourself and with everything you're feeling inside. And now beginning to transition with some deeper breaths, some movement of the arms, feeling the space around you, above you, and touching your heart with your hands, taking a deep breath into your heart, exhaling. And now taking a hum, so we'll inhale first, and then just on your exhale, humming it out. Again, inhaling, humming right into the heart. Once more. And that's the close of our practice. I'm so glad you decided to join me today. Thank you, and I will see you next time we practice together.